Pisces, December of 2024 is a grand finale that involves deep soul healing, maybe physical healing, a deeper dive into the architecture of your soul and psyche. We're going to talk about how rare this is and how the month of December sets you up to have a 2025 like no other year. You are one of the signs most profoundly transformed by the journey of 2025. Pisces, sun and moon and rising, these are all accurate for listing today. Your sun is career and purpose, moon is home and body, and the rising is everything circumstantial about your life that may or may not come to pass based on your signature of your character in the matrix, your rising identity. If you're new to my channel, welcome, Pisces. My name is Lori Lothian, and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, and often fixed stars and minor asteroids to help you time your best life. I am a total fan of using astrology as a navigational tool. So I hope you'll receive it that way. But remember, this is not a personal chart reading. This is a general reading, and this is not your personal sky, but a lot of it will apply. So as we get ready to start today, one of the things I want you to be aware of is that I am still offering my 2025 2-hour videos for each sign. You can buy the bundle or you can buy your sign alone. And those deep dive 2-hour forecasts go into your whole year ahead in great depth. And we're also looking at that as a PDF guidebook that I wrote for you. Also, I wrote for you guys didn't write it. I have the audio and video downloadable versions that you can access, as well as the unlisted link. Lots of ways to access 2025 fundraiser that gives me a ring light. My ring light just burned out. A ring light, a new laptop, which I desperately need, microphones and editing, and help staff for time stamping. So this is my fundraiser that I do every year to build the resources I need to build this channel and my practice of astrology. All right, so let's get going and talk to you. And I started a Substack column for the first time. I've never been writing for years. I'm a journalist. Go check out my new Substack, the Pluto Chronicles, and there's going to be an audio podcast there too. Free subscription. I just finished, my first article came out a couple of days ago, and it's free, and that's about Pluto and its synodic cycle with Mars and saber rattling and nuclear weapons and all of that. It's more political. That's for people who like the mundane astrology. Okay, so world astrology, political astrology. Let's get going, Pisces. Let's talk about you. Okay, let's start with the very beginning, right? In the beginning. In the beginning. So Pisces, you have the experience of Jupiter moving through the sign of Gemini. And I just want to remind you of this part of your life, because Jupiter is the god of luck, bounty, protection, and goodness. And he's moving through your fourth house since back in May of 2024 and doesn't leave till June of 25. So all said and done, the backdrop of everything is, wow, you're so protected regarding matters to do with real estate, land, property, and home, and anything to do with inheritance and money that you would get in your marriage or in your family of origin money story. So you have this longer story going on. However, in December, Jupiter is retrograding, as he has been since October 9th, going back over old territory to then regain his strength and go forward in February 4th through to June 9th. So you may have some delays in seeing some of this bounty in December, as he's still moving backwards and getting quite mixed up in some T-squares, but we will get to that. Second thing I want you to be aware of is Saturn is moving through your sign since February of 23, leaves full-time March of 23, and leaves full-time in February of 2026. So I don't know if you felt like more burdened, heavy shouldered. Have you been feeling like you're, more lonely, alone? Are you more masterful, sage-like, and wise? Are you more realistic? Do you have a backbone? Are you, the fishies? Are you got a Saturnian backbone now? And you're just like, I know what I want. I'm being realistic. I've got this. Because that's the way Saturn might make you feel. Sometimes it can give you some health challenges too with your spine, your body, your bones, your ligaments, because he's moving through the sign of Pisces, and that's your sign. However, he will be leaving in February of 2026 full-time, a bit next summer. So you definitely want to get my All Signs bundle. But to me, it's opening up a time for you where your wisdom, your sagacity, your strength is here to be more aligned with realistic goals that you wish to make come true, because he's sitting there with Pisces, with Neptune as well, till 2026, making your dreams come true in realistic ways, with a serious, realistic, sober-minded attitude about it all. Now, you might have been more grumpy with your significant marriage partner and more sharp and controlling or more gnarly since 2023 because you're looking across the way through the lens of Saturn. But all said and done, it's not a bad transit. Now, that's the backdrop because when I do these videos every year, every month, I do the overview first, right? And we're going to talk next about Mercury, Venus, and Mars overview. And then we're going to go through the chronology of our month ahead. I do talk fast. That's why you can slow me down on YouTube and or write this down or listen to it again. So, and there are captions as well to read what I'm saying. So Pisces, first thing I need to mention is Mercury retrograding in your 10th house. On November the 2nd through to January 7th, Mercury is in your 10th house of career, reputation, work matter, social status, social standing, achievement, success. I don't care if you're retired. What are you doing visibly as actions in the world that people can acknowledge you are doing something rather than say lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did. What are you doing? And so where you are with this is a story of Mercury retrograding like he did in last fall, same time frame, November, December last year. In 2023, and also the way he did the same thing in November, December of 2017. These are part of elemental fire years for Mercury, and there's comparisons you might make to your career, reputation, social standing, what you're doing in the visible world. High noon. And, he retrogrades on November 26th. So as you enter December, he's already going backwards until December 15th. And he wants to change your mind about career matters or purpose matters or help you see new ideas, but connected to the past. Sometimes it means like colleagues, coworkers, bosses, people you've known in your career from the past return to you. And all of a sudden you're hearing from these people. Again, that's a common feature of this kind of transit. And so career news, information coming from the past, returning to you. And when I also want to say about Mercury up here is that you may come up with ideas from your past to re-implement in career success ways and strategies as well. So what thoughts do you have? What ideas have you had? You have let them go. And now they're coming back and you might think about them again. He is there, as I said, till January 7th, but he does go direct mid-December. Finally, what about the other two planets, Mars and Venus? Well, good old Mars is also retrograding. Mars is going to be moving through Leo, which is your 6th house of sickness and health. Now, he is the god of injury and accidents, and he can cause heat, inflammation, rashes, and injuries when he moves through someone's 6th house. Doesn't always do this because he's in the house of his joy. He can just make you work hard. But he's been here already since November the 4th and does not leave until January the 6th. And therefore, you may be more cautious around injury, accidents, rashes, fevers, and heat and inflammation around health matters. And in Leo, particularly watch for cardiovascular. However, he's also hardworking, driving. He wants you to move your body, to get more fit. He might actually want you to change your food style and dietary habits when he's in your 6th house. But he does retrograde on December the 6th at 6 degrees of Leo and starts to backpedal. And on January 6th, backpedals into your 5th house. That could also be a whole other story, but we're saving that one till next month. Go back to November 4th and then look at November 4th to December 6th. What were you doing then? Because as he retrogrades on December 6th to January 6th, you're going back to do it again in some way. Like, what is your motivation? What is your will? What is your drive to do something? Is it a change in your work? This is the work house and health house. Maybe you want to change your job. Maybe you want to go back to an old job. Maybe you want to make changes regarding rental property situations, tenancies. But there's a Mars backtracking here. Because eventually, mid-April to mid-June, he'll be back in your 6th house again. But now, before he goes forward, he has to figure a few things out. Do you know what he's figuring out? What is your true essential core will and motive for work, for health, for rentals and pets, etc.? That's a story. You might go back to an old job. If he's going to retrograde here, you go back to some old work you've done before. You may revise your health plans with new exercise routines connected to things you were trying to get off the ground early November, but didn't quite materialize. And as he retrogrades December 6th, you begin to go back and reinvestigate, rewire these storylines. Venus is going to go direct into the sign of Aquarius, and she'll be there with Pluto on December 6th. That's a big deal because we haven't seen that. We saw it February 17th of 24, but before that, you'll have to go all the way back to 248 years. And what you did in February, coming into Pluto Aquarius contact in your 12th house, is not the same as what she's doing this year on December the 6th through to January 2nd. That is when this goddess is going to step into that part of your chart where she has the capability, it's December 6th, 7th, it's time zone dependent, to transform your spiritual life. And it is deep soul work in the 12th house, past life regressions, ancestral family systems, constellation healing, looking at your relationship to secrets, family secrets, your relationship to wealth and how you share the wealth with your partner in love and marriage, or how you have used or not used inheritance monies, government subsidies, and support structures. She's going to take you into a deeper connection to Pluto, power and riches, Venus, riches and wealth as well. So you're going to go under the surface of your own soul's values about money and wealth issues. Now she's going to give this, Pluto story a run for its money because every year until 2044, she keeps reconnecting with Pluto in your 12th house. However, this time she's also, unlike any of the other times to come or behind us, flowing to the north and south node, the nodes of fate. The north node wants to increase your resources and your possessions and your wealth. And that's in your second house, where you've been chironically wounded, perhaps, about your money story ever since 2019, when Chiron entered into the house of your face, the house of your money, the house of your food style, and you've been feeling slightly wounded. Now the north node, with a flow from Venus, Pluto in the 12th house, helps you heal the money wound, the self-worth wound, the self-esteem around value and your values, and all of that can be healed from deep within your soul. Now, Pluto Venus is in the house of ashrams, hospitals, insane asylums, and prisons. Hopefully you're not doing too much in any of those, but this is also Venus, Pluto diving deep from those kinds of milieus or venues on December 6th. All right, to January 2nd. But the beginning, January 6th to the 10th, is the most important. I really want you to be key point is you could get riches from an inheritance, or a spousal support, a separation agreement, or widow or widowhood, some of you, but it depends on how old you guys all are. But there is definitely something to do with riches coming from like a treasure chest of a past life connected to money from another time, south node in the 8th house, but also an increase in your actual tangible resources and possessions. And it looks just like, yes, something good is trying to happen here where your finances can take a turn for the better, but also it's deeper soul work about your values around money and wealth. It's not the money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. And those kinds of vows of chastity, poverty, or whatever you took in another life, well, this is about poverty, need to be reinvestigated. So my ring light broke. That's why, thank God, I'm doing a fundraiser. It just stopped working today. So I'm trying to work with a window with these really bad blinds here. So bear with the lighting. I'm going to talk now about your breakdown of each bit of the sky. So get ready. You can write this down. I don't have a timestamp or time. I don't have someone to put this here, so you'll have to bear with me. December the 1st and 2nd, Venus trines Uranus. Venus trines Uranus is not a bad, shabby love and money surprise on the first 2 days of December. However, it's also connected to a wealth star, Algol, and Algol is sitting in Taurus at 20. Uranus is at 23.5 degrees with Algol in your 3rd house, and there is a trine from Venus, who's still in Capricorn, the house of great gains. You could have a sudden financial increase that's unexpected through ally, benefactor, career gain, sibling one older than you. You may have an unexpected opportunity for travel connected to friends, groups of belonging, and siblings, or they're traveling your way. You may have an unexpected perk or increase of some kind of success in your career that surprises you, raises promotions, but connected to online world or social media land, or maybe connected to neighbors and people around you, giving you some money. Unexpected breakthroughs of some sort regarding your social media world, especially with Venus. This is great for any of you Pisces in the online world having like a viral hit or something going big for you. So it's a nice little feel-good moment on December 1st, 2nd. The 3rd to the 7th is complicated and very, very busy. Stick with me with this, will you? Bottom line is that we have a T-square that's going to reoccur at the end of December. And it's Mercury, in this case, Mercury Cazimi on the 5th and 6th of December in the heart of the sun, opposite Jupiter and squaring Saturn. Mercury Cazimi in your 10th house of career in the high noon is usually a good thing. It could be pay attention to breakthroughs in news, information, emails, phone calls to do with career and work matters or reputation matters. But also Mercury Cazimi can give you divine downloads about your father relationship as a child, or somebody in a position of authority or power could send you some kind of email or phone call message or some communications on the Cazimi. And that's all very positive because Cazimins are Mercury conjunct the sun in a harmonious and very positive way. But Mercury is also opposite retrograde Jupiter in the 4th house and squaring Saturn in the house of view. Good news. You are direct motion Saturn since November 15th. You suffer no fools gladly. You got your wisdom quotient and sagacity up. And you're looking at Mercury at the top of the sky and Jupiter down, and you're negotiating between the two of them. Compromises and negotiations from father figures, doesn't have to be your dad, a boss, a spouse can be a father figure, and matters to do with home property and real estate, retrograde, backwards motion. Do you want to move back to your home in your homeland? That's Jupiter in the 4th house. Do you want to extract some kind of deal with your boss at work regarding working in and from your home? Do you want to do some kind of look at some financial matters to do with property, land, real estate sales and reinvestigate those, especially with Mercury being the lack of looking at the details. So there's a T-square, and you're addressing such matters in the first week of December. Now, Venus will, on the 4th and 5th, in the middle of all of this, send really beautiful energy to Neptune. And Neptune and Venus together are really dreamy and soulmatey and creative and imaginative. And it's some kind of beautiful sense of divine harmony coming through from a friend, an ally, a sibling, one older than you, and something to do with a benefit coming your way from those kinds of people that you receive in a kind of unconditional love, open compassion, oceanic consciousness of appreciation on December 4th, 5th. On December the 7th, that's when I mentioned 6th, 7th time zone dependent, Venus slides into Capricorn, bumps into Pluto. I delineated the flow to the nodes of fate already in the beginning of this video, so go back and listen. On December the 12th, Venus will be completely in an oppositional tug-of-war with Mars. And while the cosmic lovers in general, no matter what the angle, bring up sort of chemistry around romance and sexuality and a physical attraction and falling in love, this is an axis in your chart that is extremely subtle. It is your 12th and 6th house axis where we have karmic debt relationships and also health matters. Mars wants to separate and cut, and Venus wants to unite, and there's a conflict. It's good for undoing and snipping the cords of karmic attachments to people and places and things in your life that don't serve you anymore. It's also really good for making changes in the work and health matters based on a deeper appreciation of your soul's agenda. And when I see Mars in the work house, which is his joy house, and he's retrograde, work opportunities from the past connected to shores foreign to where you live can be golden, but require action. And it'd be easy to sit on this in a stalemate. So you might really think about, if you're going to take action, are you going to wait until we get Mercury direct in February? You might, but you might instigate the desire to move towards new decisions and actions with health and work, but connected to females and far off shores being somehow involved, or in other words, maybe, but if you're single, and you want to travel to a far off foreign land, and Venus will be in your 12th house where the far off foreign shores are, right? December 6th to January 2nd. This little Mars tango in the middle of December could heat up a karmic and destined and hot love story. It could really go that way for you, especially with Juno moving through your house of foreign lands and indicating for single Pisces, you may fall in love with a foreigner in the month of December, but you may also be traveling, and that could be why. On December 14th to the 16th, there's a full moon in Gemini and Mars trining, Mercury trining Mars. Both are very positive. Let's start with the moon in Gemini. Gemini is your fourth house of land, home, property, real estate. There's a flashlight, a torch light. There's a blowtorch light in there to see what's really there. This is your childhood. And with all that action of Pluto, Venus in your 12th house, a lot of you are looking back at your childhood nostalgically, revising your thoughts about the way you were raised, who you really are in the light of your childhood wounds, cutting, ending, and severing karmic ties to family of origin members and childhood stories, revising your father relationship, Mercury in the 10th, because you're doing a lot of soul work. That was my lead in the beginning. You're in a soul work month. This is not like, oh, look at me, I'm a commercial success story. You are in a big, deep dive of soul work. And so you could continue to do that with this energy of a full flashlight in the childhood house, family of origin house, but fulfillment and completion and full fruition here of things that you started in June to do with home, property, real estate, new moon. My Pisces sister sold a house, bought a house, and moved with the new moon in the summer, in June, in Gemini, May, June, exactly somewhere end of May, early June. And so now a full light means to fulfill, complete, or fruit it into something new. So there's more layers to go with the idea of new beginnings in homeland and property from the new moon last in the summer, May, June of 2024. And this is a full moon that can take up to 6 months to unfold. So even though, yes, there's a full Gemini moon at 23 degrees of Gemini influencing most of you, but more particularly intensely anyone with a 20 to 26 degree Pisces sun, moon, or rising, really feeling this intensity around fulfillment or completion with home. Now, all full moons can bring endings, and you may end something to do with a home, change your home, let it go of your home, sell your home, move from your home, as one of the meanings of this story. With Jupiter transiting your fourth house until next June, you could still get legacy wealth, inheritance wealth, spousal support money. Money's coming from other places than your paycheck, and that's still playing out until the end, June the 9th, just so you know. Then Mercury trines Mars. Mercury is in Sagittarius on December 5th, 15th, 16th, 14th, 15th, 16th, but now he's going direct on the 15th, 16th, so he's no longer tied up in backward movement, and he flows to Mars in your sixth house. Sixth house are what things must you figure out, do, consider, operate on to do, like not operate like what operating systems are you engaging that have to do with things to do with a change of some sort connected to your work and your career matters. So work and career matters are under revision, but going forward, because now you're tapping into true willpower. I'll be doing a really deep dive video on the solar energy involved in this Mars retrograde in another video. But because Mars is informed by solar energy, a lot of what you say is, my soul aligned with this work? Is my soul aligned with this health protocols? My soul aligned with anything I'm doing? And because it's your sixth house, it's also karmic and breaking the ties of karmic constrictions that have bound you. When I look at Venus on December 19th, 20th, trining, luckily, Jupiter, those two love to trine each other. Jupiter is the nature of a trine. Luck, both planets are lucky. This is going to be a beautiful December 19th and 20th. And so one thing I'd open up for you in this air trine of Jupiter and Gemini in your fourth and Venus in your 12th is a very beautiful breakthrough to do with home, property, land, real estate, foreign lands, shores, and travel, or maybe a far-off foreign sibling, sister in general, visiting you in your home, because Venus is the 12th house, which is far off places, and Jupiter is your childhood, mom and dad, and any siblings you live with. And there's a flowing energy going on here, December 19th and 20th, between those elements. You may also find yourself having an opportunity to travel to a far off foreign place, and it brings a sense of bounty and maybe healing of your ancestral and childhood stories. Or you're just really lucky if you make any money, international revenue, foreign lands, and foreign shores. Trying to sell a house, maybe a foreign buyer. Those are, or want to buy a house in a foreign land. Those are lucky times, December 19th and the 20th. On December 21st to the 30th, basically, we have a gnarly T-square between Jupiter and Saturn. Do not be afraid of it. You've already felt it. You felt it back in December around the 4th, 5th, and 6th, and it's just back again. The square is there, but also the T-square. Let's break it down. December 21st to about the 26th, 5th, really all you're feeling is Jupiter square Saturn, just like he did August the 19th, 2024. So yeah, give or take a few days on either side. The feeling of August 19th, 2024 is kind of the same as how you're feeling December 21st to the 25th. If you want to connect the dots, it's property, land, home, and real estate matters, squaring off with your stubborn, hard, responsible, melancholic, realistic, sober-minded, burdened self. It's whatever Saturn's making you feel like, or how you're elevating or de-elevating from his presence in your Pisces house. And, you know, it squares your 4th house of home and land and property. So what's going on? Jupiter's retrograde. Is there regrets? Did you do something in August did you move? Did you buy a house? Are you now backtracking, backpedaling? Are you having issues with this story that you started? Because there's going to be another square next year, yes, but it's not in the same sign. So you really got to figure this out here and now. For the next year's sign square in the end of April, or if I remember correctly, the date is going to activate other parts of your chart completely, which is Jupiter in your 5th house. And Saturn in your 2nd, which is all about the money, and changing your relationship to your money story. Now, one thing I would add to this is that when Venus trines Jupiter from the 12th house is just subtle. There may be a big spiritual breakthrough because Jupiter and Venus in 12th and 4th house are in moksha stories. And I'm bringing that trine back from the past because you might have a spiritual awakening on the 19th and 20th. And then on the 21st to the 26th, you get some kind of harder energy that asks you to now bring some spiritual awakening into form or create some kind of structure around it. Now, then we get to December 26th, 27th, and now we have the full-on T-square. This is a tension between Mercury opposite Jupiter, square Saturn. Good news is the mutual reception between Mercury and Jupiter make them on the same team, working for each other. So I'm going to blend it towards more opportunity than stress. December 26th, 27th can look like, as it echoes December 4th, 5th, 6th, it can look like maybe, because Mercury is now going direct, you are making some decisions regarding your home, your reputation, your marital status, and your decisions to honor the wisdom and the backbone of what's true and right for you. And that's at Christmas time. December 27th, Venus squares Uranus. It's lucky surprises with love and money. Squares mean you have to take action and make decisions on it ASAP. Venus is again in the 12th house. That's very subtle, but it is far off places and people from those far off foreign lands. And Uranus is sitting in your 3rd house. If you're online with digital income and revenue, yay you, writing projects can take off, international publishers, digital income, viral hit. Those can happen December 27th, especially if you use international payment processors and you don't have your income delineated by a boundary of a border. So that's really positive December 27th, a nice splash. Otherwise, surprising, shocking situations connected to neighbors, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, and siblings, and foreign lands, foreign shores, etc. Could you get wealth out of this? Yes, absolutely. But it's either from the online world or a writing project. So keep that in mind. And last but not least, on December 30th, there is a new moon at 9 Capricorn in your 11th house of good spirit. New beginnings, 9 degrees, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. Let's say 3 to 12 degrees are feeling it most strongly, but you're resetting a button. You're beginning something new. It's a fresh start in your relationship to an elder sibling, in your relationship to, I don't know, so many things, in your relationship to your career gains and your long range dreams and goals for your life, and you want to start fresh, and you're going to hit the reset button here as you do yearly. And this is the time for the reset. 9 degrees Capricorn, December 30th, up to 6 months later. What button is the reset for? Because don't forget, Mars will come into your 5th house, so entrepreneurial and creative projects. You'll be there, oh gosh, goodness gracious, January the 6th to mid-April. And with this reset button in Capricorn across the way, major changes in your business models for entrepreneurially, your creative projects, or your relationship to your children. In fact, that Mars transit could bring you closer to your children, ones that you've been far away from, either emotionally or physically or distance-wise. And so maybe the reset also again connects you to how you are connected to your children, especially if they're adult, but maybe in joint custody issues as well, in a positive way. And that new reset button in 9 Capricorn flows to Saturn around 14 degrees of Pisces. And so again, it really benefits you in a great way, or 15 degrees of Pisces, where you could feel good about great gains from your career, resetting, getting back on track with money from your career, activating a bigger reward or connection to a sibling one older, getting some kind of new vision for your dreams and goals, and ultimately your relationship to your adult children. Once Jupiter in summer of 25, June of 25 to 26 goes into your 5th house, holy man, you're going to be a grandparent, or you're going to have your own children, or your children provide wealth and bounty towards and for you, and your creative projects take off, and your entrepreneurial business is successful. This is what you're heading for. You just have to get through this year of 2025 until June. So keep that in mind. Don't forget to check out the All Sign bundles when I give you a lot more information about what you're going through in 2025. Thanks, Pisces. In my description box below, my website, my Patreon community, who gets all my videos early access ad free. They're getting this today on Friday the 22nd, ahead of you guys, and they never have to watch ads. So for a mere $5 cheapest tier, check it out in my description box below, or go to patreon.com/lunatic astrology. I'll see you guys in the next videos. Like, subscribe, and hit my notification bell, please.